Hello on alle. Kind of sounds like Ich nu Allah, doesn't it? Anyway, so what have I got for you today? I've got the NZXT H440 Special Edition colors, and that just means that they're different from the originals. The originals are, I believe, glossy white with a bit of black and matte black with a bit of gloss red. And for the special edition, you get black and blue, which you can purchase at the NZXT Armory store, black and green, or you can purchase at the Micro Center, and black and orange that you can find on Newegg, which is very fitting, don't you think? Anyway, I'm very, very excited, as I was known as the case girl. I've done hundreds, I feel like, of unboxings on cases, and I'm very excited to finally be getting back into reviewing unboxing cases. So this is once again the NZXT H440 Special Edition colors, and this is also limited edition, which means NZXT only made a certain number of units. So get on that purchasing. I'm going to start off with a 360 for those of you who know exactly how I unbox cases. I like to be as detailed as possible and show you every bit of the case. So, as you can tell, it's got this nice matte finish pretty much all around the case. You get some on top as well. However, just because it's matte does not mean it does not pick up fingerprints. As you can see, I did wipe some of it off, but that is not something I do like about this case, but I do love the look of it. Very simplistic, yet there's a splash of color. And the glossy part is mainly just the blue finish all around. So let's start off with dimensions. This case measures 220 millimeters wide, 510 millimeters tall, and 475.3 millimeters deep, that way. And if you also want the inch measurements for you US awesome peeps, it is 8.6 inches wide, 20 inches tall, and 18.7 inches deep. As for the weight, 9.75 kilograms or 21.4 pounds, which is very light, for me anyway, to like lug it about. Alrighty, now let's go into an actual 360 look at the case. As you can tell at the front, it's got this NZXT logo there on the bottom, very clean finish. I mean, beautiful, right? And I can tell already this is built for silence, because otherwise you'd have a bunch of mesh in the front for the fans and creating noise and all that. So let me go ahead and remove the front panel, but I guess before I do that, I did want to show you that you do get some airflow. Normally I actually see these ventilation holes on both sides. That's why I turned it there, but right here, ventilation holes down the side for the front intakes. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the front panel. The front panel isn't too difficult to remove. Just pull at the bottom here carefully. Here's a look at the other side, and it is a case built for silence. This is foam padding here, like all along the front. Love it. For those of you who love the look, minimalistic look, and the sound dampening, good stuff. Now there's also a dust cover for the fans. Many of you know how much I love dust filters, right? I'm like, eee, dust filter! Okay, but seriously, let's remove that so I can show you the intake fans. Here are the 3 front 120 intake fans, or there's actually mounting points for 2 140s. Here's a closer look at the fans. In case you were curious, this is NZXT's next gen case fans, the FNV2. And what does that mean? Good airflow, low noise equals winning. Now this case actually has a lot of radiator potential for a mid-tower, which I adore, by the way. So you can have radiators up to 360 millimeters. I believe this is very Kraken ready, which is another NZXT line for their water cooling, for their radiators. The X40 and X60, I believe. And also for the front, there you could do a push-pull config. And there shouldn't be a radiator thickness cap, because you can just remove the drive cages inside of the case if you wish to have a thicker radiator push-pull config, which is awesome, right? Plenty of options for you guys. Now let's turn this around. Nice slice of window. Although I do like to see everything, but since this is where the drive cages are, you'll know what I mean when there's really not much to see here, so this window is perfect. And I love windowed version of cases. I have the NZXT Elite 410 right now, and down here you'll notice the power supply shroud, and you'll see NZXT. That will light up, which will be really awesome. And I'll show you that once I plug it in. So, now onto the rear. Also get some ventilation holes across the top here and along this edge as well. Now, oh look, made in China, isn't everything? Ha ha ha. Okay, here is the fan mount. Right now you have a 140 millimeter exhaust fan, and there's a mounting point for 120 as well. And you can see that there are these mounting hole slots right here. They're kind of long looking because this allows you to place the fan higher or lower to your preference, which is something I really like depending on where exactly you would like the fan to be blowing and all that good stuff. And honeycomb ventilation. Also next to that, knockout for your input-output shield on your motherboard. I believe it's 2, 4, 6, 7 expansion slots, so multi-card setup, no problemo. Large rubberized grommets for threading your cables through or your water cooling tubes. Very helpful to have them here. Kind of like them up here too, but it's nice that they included it. Some more ventilation holes and a bottom power supply mount. Now this looks a little bit different because you'll notice the bracket here, there's a bracket here, and then 4 thumb screws already on there. So how do you include the power supply or install the power supply? Remove this bracket. Take off the thumb screws, place this bracket on the power supply, slide the power supply in, and secure it into place. So haha, there you go. And what is this? I do believe, this is another dust filter. Ta-da! Now let's move right along to this side of the, oh, almost forgot because this little guy is in black and he is so very tiny. So right here, if you press this button, it will turn on and off the LEDs for the I/O as well as for the shroud right here, which is really awesome. And I really like it when cases include I/O LEDs because when it's dark and usually, you know, I'm trying to plug things in like USB or whatnot into the back and I'm like, where are the ports? And you know, light really helps. So moving right along, another very clean panel. Once again, this is built for silence. Here's a look at the top of the case. Like I mentioned before, matte finish. And also, I love that both the top, the front, you know, the side panels, all metal. I love it. So much steel for the price. It's like $119, I believe, retail. And let's first take a look at the ports, shall we? So here we have the headphone mic jacks, 2 USB 3.0 ports, 2 USB 2.0 ports, and a large, well not that large, but power button, reset button, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the top cover just like the front cover. They have a little area here where you could go ahead and just pull back. Ooh, more sound dampening material. I love it. It's foam. Very fun to play with. Alrighty, and wow, this is quite heavy actually. Now, here's a closer look at the ports here, over here as well. Now, up here, you'll notice that you have some mounting points for fans and radiators, which is really awesome. So just like the front, 3 120 fans or 2 140 fans, or radiators up to 360 millimeters in length, or radiators up to 280 millimeters in length. So very, like exactly like the front. Except because it's at the top, you don't get as much room for really thick radiators. So they recommend, I believe, 30 millimeters or up to 30 millimeters thick radiators. Awesome. Thank you, NZXT, for all of your radiator potential. Here's a look at the bottom of the case. You get some raised feet, quite high actually, with some rubberized padding so that it helps reduce vibration, also helps with all the beautiful airflow in this area. Get plenty of ventilation strips here for the power supply, and here is the dust filter I took out earlier, so it just goes here like this. Well, I gotta slide it in. But next to that, you'll notice some little holes here where the cable tie points are. And why are they here? Well, because the shroud on the bottom here is a great area for most of your cables to go. Really awesome, especially if you have like non-modular power supplies and you get like a snake pit of cables. Anyway, next to that, you get another mount. Well, you have the cage mounts, right? But for a 3.5 inch as well as a 2.5 inch drive. Now, let's move on to the right side of the case. I'm going to go ahead and remove the right side panel, and there's quite a bit to talk about here because the drive cage is facing that way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these thumb screws. Actually, this is really cool. So these thumb screws are captive. That means that they stay on there. I love that feature. Absolutely adore it, by the way. So you never have to lose a thumb screw. I'm guilty of that, by the way. Alrighty, so full padded for sound dampening, foam material. Absolutely love it. Wow, that looks like teeth marks. I swear to you that those are not mine. Alrighty, let's move right along. So you'll notice a few things on here actually. Ooh, I kind of like the trapezoid style cutout for your aftermarket heatsink. Lots of holes to, actually not a lot, just a couple of holes to route your cables through. Well, some up here too. These are nice because usually when you route your CPU cable, what I do is I just take it through here and I like plug it in up here. But anyway, so here's the LED hub that powers the LED of the I/O and of the shroud on the inside. Here's the fan hub. By the way, you can plug up to 10 fans here, which is really awesome. Currently, all 4 fans are plugged into here. And here is the Molex that powers the LEDs, I believe, and the fans. I turned it on before. And just another fan header, I believe. And I believe this is, these are usually the 2-pin LED connectors. Now, moving right along, well, actually there are a lot of cable ties here, and you do get a bit of space behind the motherboard tray for cable routing, but most of your cables will probably be stuffed into this large area here. It also depends on how long your power supply is, but, you know, in this area. So let's move along to the actual drive cage. So the drive cage is removable, it's held in by rivets, but that's okay because it doesn't get in the way of you installing a large, thick radiator here. So you'll just have to remove these drive sleds in order to access the huge radiator mount. Now generally the drive install is on the other side. I mean, you slide the tray on the other side, but this time it's on the right side, and I actually rather like that more because then all the cable management is hidden. Now if it's on the other side, you'll kind of see a cable kind of going through here, and I don't really like that. So this is perfect. And just like the side panels, these are captive thumb screws, which I love, but it's kind of like really tight on there, so I'm gonna use this to loosen them a bit so I can show you the tray. And once again, this case does have a whole lot of metal because I've seen a lot of drive trays with plastic, these flimsy plastic sleds. So one sec. There it is. So once those are loosened, we're gonna go ahead and take that out. So you get 5 of these. There you are. And metal, really awesome for 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch drives. They've also included some rubberized padding here, also to help with vibration. And you know, metal is a really good conductor of heat versus plastic, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just keep this off. So you get 5 of these. So you get 5 3.5-inch mounts and 2.5-inch mounts. 2.5-inch, yes. And on the bottom, you get an additional one for 3.5, 2.5s. So that's actually 6 3.5-inch mounts total. Now 2.5-inch, you get 8 total. So 5, 6, and there's 2 on top of the shroud I'll show you in just a bit. Here's a look at the cables for the top I/O. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. You get a 20-pin USB 3 connector, which I love. I hate the pass-through cables that go around the back. Oh my god, horrible. And here is the USB 2.0 connector. Also, what else? Of course, you get audio, just HD audio. And let's take a look at these. What is this? Reset, power, and your LEDs. And now for a look at the interior. I already removed the side panel, so just quickly get into that. Alright, let me just turn this a little bit. Here's another look at the rear exhaust 140 back there. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this back. Down here is the shroud. Yeah, metal shroud that has the NZXT logo that will light up, which I will show you in just a bit, as well as the shroud that covers all your cables. Now let me tilt this just a little bit, and you'll notice the 2.5-inch drive mounts. So many drive mounts! So that if you only use SSDs, or if you use the 3.5-inch drive mount on the bottom, you can go ahead and remove the drive sleds on this end for that radiator mount. Winning! Alrighty, now as you can tell on the motherboard, they've included some standoffs for you already, coated in black. Normally I see them in gold, but I actually like black better. It's just more stealth. And as for motherboard compatibility, this case is compatible with micro ATX, mini ATX, and ATX motherboards. Now over here, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you do get rubberized grommets for threading your cables through. It really helps to keep the cables nice and tidy right there. So a few things I want to go over before we get down to Clecrance, because I know how important that is to you all. So you'll notice this is the drive cage area. It's very clean, kind of just like covered up, so you only really see this area. That's why the window is so important, only this slice where you can see all of your components. It's just unfortunate that the cage is not removable, but it does help create a bit of support for the case. Now, as to the fan hub, remember when I talked about the right side and you see the 10 fan pin connections? Well, it's actually 3-pin fans, okay? It's only for 3-pin fans and 10 fans total. So let's move on to the actual clearance. Now for CPU cooler height, you get a clearance of 180 millimeters right here, or 7 inches, which is pretty standard. Now for the graphics card, with the hard drive sleds in place, you get 305 millimeters, or 12 inches. Now, without the sleds, it's 406.2 millimeters or 15.9 inches, which is more than you'll really need for any graphics card on the market. As well as for cable management on the rear, actually, it is 17.7 millimeters to 32.5 millimeters for all that cable routing. So here's a look at the accessories that come with the case. Of course, you get a user guide. Now, I rather like this because, let me just flip through it. It tells you how to, install everything, what the hubs do. See, here's another look at the power supply install, so you know. Now, moving right along, here is the little box of accessories. So give me one moment to open this up for y'all. Aha! So inside, here's some awesoming, did I say awesoming? Yes, I did. Marketing by NZXT, showing you a look at their other products such as the Phantom series cases, as well as their water cooling, their fans, their power supplies. Really, it's beautiful, and it's just the packaging. Look at that, color too. Alrighty, next to that, or what's in this baggie, let's see what you get. Get an NZXT case badge, and a sticker, and a whole bundle of these zip ties. Now, I can go crazy on zip ties, so I'm gonna hoard these. Basically, what I like about this is it looks like a bouquet of flowers. Look at that. It's like, these are for you. Which reminds me of something really funny. The other day, I went to the market to buy something, and I was looking at hair clips, and most of you might be thinking, oh, she just wants to clip her hair or something, but I bought them to clean up my cables. You'd be surprised, but those tiny little hair clips, they're great for cleaning up your cables. Now, here are the bags of mounting screws. So they tell you what they are on the top. And of course, check the user guide, please, to see exactly which screw goes with what. Stand off. And let's take a look at these. All right, here. And one more bag of screws. I have the Molex of this case plugged in so you can get to see the LEDs, and the fans are a Warren, all 4 of them. Let's go ahead and reach around to the rear of the case and press that little button at the top. And this is what the shroud LED looks like. Quite a difference, I would say. And now here's a look at the rear I/O LED. Very helpful, by the way, on a dark night. Haha! So before I close this video out, I would like to talk about the pros and cons. So pros, I really do like the look of this case. It does have a matte finish. However, con for that is that fingerprints, I believe the oils, it just attracts way too much, and I don't really like that. Do like the minimalistic design. It's meant to be a silent case once again, and it does the job really well with all of that sound dampening foam, which is good stuff. However, they have included ventilation holes up at the top and across the front, so that's what I like about it. So you do get some airflow. And the front intake fans, it's gonna exhaust everything through the back, so this is a perfect setup. Do love how the fans, you can orient them in different heights. Very, very nice. One thing I really do adore about this case is that you get so much cooling potential. I mean, that's just amazing for like a little mid-tower like this. What else? Do like the LEDs. Maybe would have liked to see just a little bit more going on here, but it's not bad. Do love the I/O LEDs. And I suppose, oh, there is one more thing. Yes. You'll notice that there's no 5¼ inch drive for an optical drive. And I'm actually okay with that because a lot of people do install their OSs using a USB. so you don't really need that drive. But I suppose it could be useful for some people, so maybe that could be a con. I would have liked to see an optical drive, but that's just me. Some people, you know, prefer not to have it, and because you don't have that drive mount there, you can go ahead and install that radiator. So that's definitely a huge plus for people who love to water cool their systems. I'm very, very excited. I would love to try custom cooling sometime in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing of the H440 Special Edition color. I have the black and blue version, so I believe that is Armory Store. Now, black and orange, once again, Newegg, black and green, Micro Center. So in case you wanted to pick one up. And remember, limited edition, so that means you gotta buy all of them. I'm just kidding. This case is really great. I might even build in it. I don't know. We'll see. But I wanted to say that thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it, found it, you know, fun, and also you got a lot out of it, hopefully. I try to be as detailed as I can be. Now, please comment, like, and subscribe to JoanneTechLover YouTube if you really liked what you saw and you want to see more. Also, be sure to follow me on social media. Facebook fan page is JoanneTechLover, Twitter is JoanneFoodLover, and Twitch is WhaleTune. So twitch.tv/WhaleTune, where I game with Tim on a regular basis every week. And one last thing is that please donate so you can feed this hungry techie and really just help me expand this channel so I can do builds, because I really, really want to do builds, but I really cannot afford it, and I really want to like show you all types of builds. Maybe you can give me your suggestions and we can work from there. So I'm very, very excited to move this channel in the right direction, which is more techie. So I guess all that's left to say is Auf Wiedersehen. Did I say that right? I don't know.